So, what I believe I want to do is cast a spell called From Novice to Master. It's still blue. That's not great. So the next thing is revision themes. So let's see. From Novice to Master is going to raise it by 5 points. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use an item called the Reminder Sheet, which gives additional 2 points to our action. And we're going to go on an adventure. I am going to save for this one just in case we do fail it. Okay, so we want to bring up revision themes, I believe? Yes. Now we're going to choose revision themes again for the Reminder Sheet. Okay, so the next one is called the Floating Isle. It's already blue, so that's good. So maybe it won't be too bad. I hope we don't fail this. Let's start. The captain isn't in his study when you go in. You're not terribly surprised, because you figured he'd be wanting to see his daughter at the first opportunity. After all, they haven't seen each other for years. There are stacks of weird-looking papers all over the captain's desk, and as you wait, you find yourself being drawn towards the desk. You're pretty sure you can see a list of names, and Orso Orsi catches your eye, as does Alaro Dottie and Assad the Lion. You wonder bleakly what kind of connection could be between these three men. What is going on in Minta? Just as you're gathering your courage to start snooping, you hear footsteps. Quickly, you hurry back to your usual seat and sink into the cushions. It's turned a little away from the door, so you hear the captain and Daros enter, but they don't seem to notice your presence. She didn't mean it, sir, Daros mutters wretchedly. She's just... Of course she meant it, the captain snaps back. She always says what she means. You can hear him walking over to his desk, and suddenly there is a loud smash. You hop out of your chair and spin around. The little quill holder is in pieces all over the floor, and the captain is staring at it as though he could put it back together just by the force of his gaze. Daros touches your shoulder in a signal to be quiet, and the two of you wait for the captain to return his attentions to you. Finally, he gives a huge, shuddering sigh and looks up. We've wasted enough time on my personal concerns, Daros. It's time to gather the men. With that, he claps his hat onto his head and stalks out of the room. You glance at Daros for an explanation, and he shakes his head. It's a bad business, Rune. A real bad business. Come on, you're invited for this ride, and the captain's in no mood to wait around for us to catch up. The two of you hurry out of the room, and Daros leads you outside to a little courtyard. In the courtyard is a small ship, black and red and gold, with strangely shaped sails. Much to your surprise, the ship isn't sitting flat on the ground. It's floating. Daros smiles weakly at your explanation of surprise. It's one of Assad's special boats. We've been working on repairing it ever since we found the carcass. It's almost as good as new now, and we're taking it up there, the captain says, gesturing to the menacing bulk of the floating island. It's time to get things sorted out, gentlemen. You count Damn this guy! You count Gaffard and Foucard. What? I'm sorry, these are not names to me. I'm gonna be really upset if these are actual real names. Like, I can go to babynames.com or something, and these are on there. But these sound like the most made-up fucking names I have ever seen. Almost as bad as Aragon. You count Garford and Foucard among the men waiting near the boat. Only about a dozen militia men are grouped together, and you step up to join them, fixing your militia pin to your tunic. The captain nods grimly at you all. This is probably going to be dangerous. I don't know what's up there, and I doubt it's friendly. Anyone who wants to go back to helping the townsfolk in the repair of Minta is free to leave. No one moves. Right, then get aboard. You find yourself sitting near the aft of the boat. It slowly lifts into the air, quivering as the currents of the wind catch and toss it. It's a long journey to the island, especially as the boat seems hardly able to travel above a snail's pace. The clouds fold slowly around you, caressing your face with their clammy, cold touch, and you find yourself holding your breath. The view is amazing. But you're not here for a pleasure ride. What can you do to help? Well, we're going to use revision themes. Use a revision spell to make the boat go faster. Our other options were brew, help with seasick militiamen. Incantation spells, keep an eye out for magical monsters. So, I believe all of these are like level 16. Oh, there's another one. Diplomacy. Is there anything the captain particularly wants you to do? So everything is versus like a 16 or 18 on this list. So this was kind of hard to bring up, especially because we didn't focus in any of these. But hey, we got revision themes up, so let's use it. The sooner you get to the island, the better. You pull out your wand and concentrate on the sails of the boat. Surely a larger, more effective design sail will help. You twist your wand up and then to the side, counting the strokes under your breath. 1, 2, 3, 5 to the left and 6 to the right. A shimmering of light passes over the sails and the boat gives a funny little lurch. You blink the spots from your eyes and look up to see a wide white sail of a very clever design flapping in the wind. Not only is the boat going much faster, but the sail now has the militia emblem on it. That's nice. Shit. Now here's the problem. I didn't think it would go straight into the next one. So we have a couple things to think about. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to reload our save. I didn't think it would do this. Honestly, I should have expected to do this, and now I need to double check all the adventures in the mod pack and see if it can tell me if it's going to end or go to the next phase. Because I doubt we're going to pass this. Okay, yeah, I'm going to load the last save. Somehow. Screw it. Let's just read this and I'll reload if I have to. The island is, well, it's unbelievable. A lush green jungle spreads across it, twisting in vibrant greens and blues. As the boat lands in a shady cove, which is made all the more odd by the fact that no water laps against the golden sand, you see bone-white structures sparring out of the trees, which must be remnants of some strange and ancient ruins. In the forest you can hear strange bird calls and the deeper growls of wild creatures. It's a little different world, floating in its own little ecosystem above Minta. You dig your feet into the warm sand and gaze around in utter awe. Meanwhile, the militia drag the boat further up the beach and secure it in place. The captain briskly dusts off his hands and peers at your surroundings. We should be able to reach that building if we make our way around the rocks, he says, nodding in the direction of the craggy rock bed sinking around the edges of the island. The rocks are purple, piled on top of one another in the mountains and valleys of stone. It's easy to clamber over them, and the captain takes the lead, striding out front with his sword drawn and his hat tipped back. He's stern at the moment, almost taciturn. You have the feeling that his mind is fully occupied with the mission and concerns about his daughter's welfare. After scrambling across the large swath of slippery rocks, you come out on another beach. This time the sand is more blue-green, and small fish dance in and out of it as though it were water. Several of the men catch a fish and toss it back and forth, trying to avoid having their fingers bitten. You can see the ruins more closely now. It's like a massive temple, gold or morlu, still caressing the ragged white stones. The captain begins to pick his way through the forest. He's far ahead, taking huge strides as though the faster he can reach the temple, the more quickly everything will return to normal. Perhaps it's the beauty of the place, but you find yourself lingering on the beach with the others. The fish nibble gently at your toes and spray sand across your legs in playful bursts. Suddenly a loud voice cries out behind you, "Militia!" You spin around and you hear Darius growl, answering, "Swashbucklers." A large group of red-scarved swashbucklers are lined up on the beach just behind you. Their swords or wands are drawn, and they look as though they want to start a fight. The militiamen draw their own weapons, and you find yourself aligned against the swashbucklers with your wand in your hand. A tall, burly man with masses of red hair steps forward. "You took our leader," he says. "You've locked her up somewhere, and you'll be giving her back to us now." "Will we now?" Darius answers politely. "You amaze me, Vernon. Here I was thinking we'd be keeping her right where she is, and out of trouble." Things look set to disintegrate into violence, and quite possibly a little bloodshed on the side. Both forces are glaring at each other, all but breathing down each other's necks. It's tense, so tense that a single word might set off the fight. But instead of a word, you only hear a cry. You glance quickly over your shoulder and see the captain struggling with 5 burly pirates. He got so far ahead of you that there's no way any of the militia can reach him in time. The captain is putting up a fierce battle, but the pirates have him severely outnumbered and carrying him off. They've kidnapped him. Octavius, have mercy, they've kidnapped him, and you're stuck here facing off the swashbucklers. You look back at the Red Scarves rogues, and you know you must convince them to help you. If they push the militia into starting a fight, you're never going to be able to find out where the pirates have taken the captain to. But how are you going to do it? So, I was going to use logic. Use logic to convince them that this is what their leader would want. We're going to try it now, and hey, we have a chance of succeeding. Let's see the other options. Character study. What might the swashbucklers have a soft spot for? Diplomacy, make a promise, famous speeches. Play to the swashbuckler's sense of fairness and honor. You step between the two factions and slam your wand into a stone. The small spell you set off create a loud explosion, and the swashbucklers reel back, lapsing into silence. You fold your arms and demand to know what exactly they think they are doing. After all, the captain is their leader's father. Do any of them want to have to tell her that they allowed him to be carried off by pirates? She may not be on the best of terms with her father, but you're willing to bet she wouldn't be pleased to lose him, especially to the pirates, who are her mortal enemies. You make a strong case. Your points logical and well argued. Once you finish, you step back and wait for Finn's reply. He scowls. "And what would a little snip like you be knowing about our leader? She wouldn't care if the blasted pirates drowned that blasted father of hers." Things degenerate from there. By the time that the fighting peters to a halt and the two sides retreat, licking their wounds, you discover that your boat is gone. You have no idea of where the captain is, and there's no way to follow him, even if you did. Sometime later, a rescue ship turns up and ferries the small group of militiamen back to the grounds. Darius insists upon you returning to Academagia, which you do with a heavy heart. You find out later that the pirates released the captain after receiving a fine ransom. Somehow you're not surprised when you receive no summons to call upon him. So that went bad. But thankfully, we have our own little magic spell called Reload a Save. We did succeed at casting that spell, though, which is nice. Let's see, Prudence apparently hung out with me, which is nice. I mean, none of this kind of matters. You increased your fitness. Interesting. You're feeling affection. And Morbidius. None of this really matters because we're going to reload, so let's just reload.